both you guys. 10 seconds.
Y'all can jam to the music you want to.
Yeah. Melissa, what you cook? wife T, and I am here tonight taking over the Kingdom Conversations podcast, and we are going to do it in lady style. Say it's ladies' night, ooh, ooh, ladies' night, hey! And I just want to let y'all know, I didn't come to stay. I just came to take over tonight. But yes, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to have my special guest tonight. Kingdom Conversations podcast is podcast that addresses issues in the church that most people don't want to address, things that happen in Christendom, whatever, that people just don't like to address. We bring it to the forefront here on this platform. But tonight, I know Mother's Day was Sunday, but I've heard the phrase that Mother's Day is every day. And since it's every day, today is Mother's Day too. So happy Mother's Day to everybody, as well as my guest. And we are on here tonight to just give a woman's perspective on some different issues and topics that we deal with as being mothers and being wives and juggling all kind of responsibilities and things of such. It's going to be a whole lot of stuff that we're going to cover tonight. So if you are watching this, if you can hear my voice and if you can see me, make sure that you love this broadcast, this podcast, and then also make sure you share this to everyone you know, because I know that you've seen the flyers and you know somebody on there. So make sure you share, tell somebody, tune in, and then make sure you join in also with the conversation because this is going to be some good stuff. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you my three guests that I have tonight. We have none other than Miss Ebony Williams. We also have Miss Brooke Carden, and we also have Miss Melissa Flowers. Hey, y'all.
Hey,
Hey.
hey.
So I'm so glad and thank you again for agreeing to be on here with me tonight. Like I said, it's just gonna be laid back. We're gonna talk, gonna have some conversation about being mothers, wives, and all kind of stuff. So y'all ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
All right. Cool. So again, like I just said, Mother's Day was Sunday and just starting there, how was your Mother's Day? Like starting with Brooke, how was your Mother's Day?
My Mother's Day was good. I actually stayed the whole day at home. My 1 year old was sick.
Oh,
And so but the gifts were good. Everything was very well thought out. I did not have to cook, I did not have to clean. And everything was brought to me. So all of that is great. No responsibility Sunday. I was good for, except for Kaden.
I know that's right. Okay. All right. How about you, Ebony?
Mine was good. I can't complain. Started off, went to church. Then I went out to eat. My husband took me out to eat, and the kids got me gifts. My husband got me a beautiful money bouquet. Um, and then I came back home, rested for a little bit, and then I went to spend the rest of the day with my great aunt. So it was nice.
Mother's Day didn't go as planned in the beginning, but me and my girls, we were triplets. But in kid fashion, one of my daughters lost her shoe. So we unfortunately didn't make it to in person service. We streamed it online and then we went out to dinner. So that was pretty good.
Let's start with Ebony.
Say it again because the audio was kind of messing up a little bit.
I'm sorry. I was saying, what was one of the most memorable gifts that you gave your mom for Mother's Day, or one of the most memorable things that you remember doing on?
Oh man. Um, Honestly, I can't remember. And I can only say that because my mom passed away when I was 15 years old.
Mhm.
So for me, I don't remember those particular Mother's Days, with my
Mhm.
mom. I just remember like other significant days. So Honestly, I just there's nothing that really stood out that I can remember with my mom, just other just general memories that I've, had with her.
I, I'm like Ebony. I don't have a particular like memory that stands out as far as me and my mom, but I guess now I still feel like I'm a new mom. Um, the handmade cards that I get for my daughters that are just so adorable. I cherish them because each year is something different and is
Mhm.
innovative. So I'm starting to have my own little scrapbook.
Oh,
Oh,
cute.
Oh,
cool. All right, Brooke.
Well, it's funny that you asked this because me and my sisters were just talking about this. One year we gave my mom a bell. So we gave her a bell, and though she could do with the bell was just ring it when she needed
Mhm.
something. She took full advantage of her children, and she was asking for ridiculous things. But she bragged and bragged and bragged and bragged about that gift. And so this year, my sister decided to give her a crystal bell,
Oh.
and so we can kind of memorialize uh,
Mhm.
that gift that she had because I think she talked about it probably until like 2 years ago. She talked about that gift so much, but going back to think about it, as parents, we do so much, we give so much, we sacrifice so much, and the thought of her kids running to her every time she needed something was relief, one, and then two, it was just us being able to give back to her. So that's the most memorable gift that we gave our mom on Mother's Day.
I asked myself that question. I was like, Lord, I don't even think I recall anything in particular that I did. Um, I was like the youngest in the house while my siblings were significantly older than me.
Mm.
Are closer in age, so they would kind of do stuff together sometimes and come up with little songs and do little stuff like that. I'm like, I can't even remember anything that I did in particular. I said, let me ask somebody else and see the stuff that they did, and it kind of brought back to my memory of the things that my kids kind of did for me, and um, some of the corniest little cards and stuff. But I happened to be going through my files the other day, and I saw I have like a folder that has like some of their accomplishments and stuff, Mother's Day cards in it. And boy, I was rolling because they didn't make no sense. Like you have the stalk of a tree, and then their head is supposed to be like the leaves and stuff. And they're like, Happy Mother's Day. I was like, this is some of the weirdest are some of the most important things that you think that you should instill in your children as being the maternal role? I know mothers and fathers work hand in hand, especially when you are married. It's a lot easier that way. But, they did depend and lean on mom a little more so than dad sometimes because, you know, we're the first ones that they really have a bond and connection with, from the womb. Just had to bring that out. So what is one or some of the most important things that you should instill in your child as a mother? And anybody who's ready to jump in on that, you can go ahead.
I would say how to love.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, me and my mom had this conversation probably, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago. And I was saying that my oldest, she does a lot. And she was like, and I was like, I feel bad about asking her to do stuff because it's like too much. She was like, well, Brooke, when you show her, like when you say, Harper, go get the remote, or Harper, come scratch my head, or Harper, come put some lotion on me, you're actually teaching them how to love. You're teaching them by example what to do to love somebody. Hey, Harper, can you help me wash dishes? Can you do this? Can you help me with this? Um, so I would say that was one of the, like I used to always like, why do you always want me to tie your shoes up? Why you always want me to take your shoes off? But I do that to my husband, and he appreciates the little things that I used to do for my mother. But I didn't realize what she was doing was instilling how to love, how to show love, and how to continuously do it even when you don't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those things are important, or that is important.
All right. Who else? Pop up like popcorn.
For me, I would say I've always taught my kids how to pray. I
Mm,
remember my mom praying for me when I was young. So, one of the first things I taught my kids was to just pray and just let them know it's just a conversation to God. There's no right way to do it. Of course, they learn, the Lord's Prayer, but still, it's just a conversation talking to God,
Mm-hmm.
and to give thanks and be thankful. In particular, with Tyra, one thing that I am instilling in her is loving her blackness. Um,
mm,
the school that
mm,
she goes to is a mixed school, so it's like black kids and white kids mostly. So she's not really understanding the ethnic differences.
mm,
So, with Tyra, she wants to wear her hair straight every day. I'm like, listen, your hair ain't made like this.
yeah.
So, she wants to wear her hair straight and she wants to know why can't she wear her hair this particular way? Why can't it be pulled all the way back? And it's hard to explain to a 6-year-old, well, your texture is different. Your hair
Mhm,
is curly, your hair is thick. And she's comparing herself to the little white girls.
mm,
So for me, it's always instilling in her that your black is beautiful,
mm,
just letting her know that, um, our skin color comes in so many different shades and we're all beautiful. So I think with children, I'm glad she's not necessarily in the era where back in the day when you was dark skinned, it was just like you got ridiculed for that. Or if you
Mm-hmm.
was high yellow, you got ridiculed for
mhm,
that. Now it's just it don't even matter.
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, but just really instilling in her beauty and not for her to like, think that white beauty is just beautiful to her. I want her to love herself. So that's one thing I've been kind of talking to her about lately.
Okay, awesome. All
that's a
right,
real thing.
Melissa.
I like to say for me, instilling in my children common courtesy.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I was taught to say please, thank you, no ma'am, yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir. Hold the door, just being polite. Because nowadays, in this day and time, you don't see individuals be nice or I guess for me, it irks me just not to hear common courtesy saying please and thank you. Because now I
Mhm,
want them to know, hey, must respect your elders and you must be polite to everyone regardless.
Right. Absolutely. That was like a must.
mhm,
Yes, what?
Right.
It wasn't just no yes. It had to be yes, ma'am, yes, sir, no, ma'am, no, sir. And the bad thing about it is, I don't even recall my mama putting that much emphasis on that whole thing to me. But I wasn't a disrespectful kid or anything. I would still say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, and I got that from school. But with it being just a stern thing, it wasn't like anything a make or break thing in my house. If you just had to be polite,
right, right.
definitely yes and no. That was acceptable. But yeah, definitely bringing those values. I think that's something that's still good. Even today. Um, and I hope to God and I pray to God that this next generation, I don't know what they're gonna be called after this one that I'm raising. And what's the one that you're raising, Melissa? So your kids were born in the 2000s. What's yours
I asked
generation?
somebody that the other day, and I don't know. If anybody else knows, please let me know. I don't know.
Out of
I
generation
saw
X,
heard
Y.
someone say on YouTube, a preacher say they were the Blossoms, but
Blossoms.
I may be wrong. I don't know what they're called. Now I'm intrigued because I've been trying to figure it out.
I'm gonna have to. Do any of you remember while growing up the different types of mothers that were like in your neighborhood or that you were most in contact with? I'm gonna start this one because I had, oh my goodness, um, I had the mamas that were the cussers, the fighters, the ones that used to drink all the time, sit on the stoop. It's like that's how they communicated with their kids too. If something happened to them, bring your way over here, blah, 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 blah. Everything it was cussing. And then the kids was cussing back to
Ugh.
them. But it was just kind of like, that's what it was, you know? And it wasn't that it was bad for them. That's just how I remember like, oh my God, we don't do that in my house. So of course, when I was first exposed to that, I was like traumatized because I'm like, did she just call her daughter a B? And her daughter said, Mom, what the H you want? Like that was just like blowing my
Mm.
mind. Like I was like, oh my God. So I know in my house that didn't happen at all, you know, because if I had even thought about rolling my eyes or doing anything like that, I wouldn't be here with y'all tonight. So
Mhm.
I vividly remember like, how does that work? Like, and the Bible says to honor your mother and father that your days may be long on the earth. And I'm like, how does that work? How does God look at that? And then I also
Mhm.
because I'm used to my mom saying, I'm your parent, I'm not your friend, you know? And you would have to have a certain level of respect for your mom and for your dad that you couldn't just feel like you could just go to them and be like, look, girl, look, look. So, look, for real, wait. Let me tell you what happened today. I wish I would have felt comfortable going into my mama, look, like this. Look what happened today. I was about to. That was no, you was about to. It was why was you acting crazy? No, why was you talking like that? That's what I would have gotten. But I saw how I guess the mother, I don't know if she wanted to live through her child vicariously or if she felt like she was missing that part of her childhood where she was going to try to live it through her child, where she just wanted to be, I guess, the cool mom. But
Mhm.
it just felt awkward to me. I was just like, I don't know how their relationship is going to work. But I just found that, and then of course, strictly church, just like you don't go outside. You stay at the door. Somebody come to the door. You come to the door. You tell them you doing your work or you doing your scriptures. You're not going outside. That's what I was used to. So, just anybody jump out.
Well, I grew up at the tail end of your neighbors pretty much looked out for you, and if you needed a beating, they beat you. I grew up on that tail end of that. So that I mean, there was one time where I was actually spanked by my neighbor because I went to the candy store. I don't know if y'all remember the little candy house that was on the block.
Mhm.
We weren't supposed to go to the candy house, but they had the good pickles and they had the Mickey sticks, and we had the the change to be able to get it. And we got caught going to the candy house, and she saw us coming from the candy house, and we got spanked. So that's the generation in which I grew up in, and from that, I guess they kind of reared us, but so much has changed since that point. Um,
Yeah.
the my mother's mother grew up differently than she did. So hard on her kids as her mother was. And same here. I'm not as hard on my children as my mom was to me because so much has changed. Generations change and then life changes. Yeah, in terms of like what the kids are accessible to and what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. We had the same thing that they deal with where people talk about us, you so black, blah, 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 blah. We had pop back. Like we would be able to come back and get back with the other kids. These children nowadays don't have that. it's bullying, and it's their minds are weaker. The Bible speaks about towards the ends of time that kids will be wiser, children will be wiser, but they'll be weaker. So we are living in a weaker generation of children, so we can't raise our kids the way our parents did, because I would tell my mom I'm calling 911. She'd be like, call them, let me give you the phone, and I'll meet you when they get there. So now it's a totally different, it's a totally, my sister has a 16-year-old, and her life is totally different than our life, but I can see my children's life being different, like totally different than her life, because everything is so much different every 2 years now. Like everything is so much different, and it weighs heavier. So we have to be, conscious of how we. Like I'm very like when I talk to my daughter, I think before I speak. She's 5, but the way she gets information, the way she receives information, she thinks very hard. So I have to, like she said something the other night. She was like, well, why doesn't daddy care about how I feel? Because he told her he didn't want her to do something. So she took that as him not caring about how she felt. And she was able to vocalize that. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's bring that back. So you have to be careful about, we just can't do the same thing that you know how we were raised. Everything is done differently. So
Right, absolutely. Um, I had some comments on here about sound breaking up. Does the sound better now? Just trying to check.
It does.
It
Yeah, it sounds
does.
better.
Y'all can hear it too.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Ebony, Melissa, who else want to jump in there?
I was going to say for me, I grew up where the neighborhood kind of looked out for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go outside freely. You didn't have to worry about being kidnapped. You had to be in the house by the time the lights, the street lights came on. That was
Right.
just your cue to be in the house.
mhm.
And if you was caught outside when it was dark, somebody in the neighborhood was calling your house. Such
Period.
and such out here and the lights is out. They need to be in the house. So everybody kind of looked out for everybody in the neighborhood. I just remember, being able to like, I don't know, it was more like kids played outside more when I was younger compared to now.
Mhm.
Because now there is electronics and gadgets and game systems and all that stuff. But I remember just being outside, playing hide and go seek and all this stuff. But now we're in a generation where uh, they're kidnapping kids, or you have people uh, will snatch you up real quick. So it's you can't even allow your children to even be outside that freely anymore. But yeah, everybody in the neighborhood would just look out for all the kids. So I miss that generation because I don't think we have it now.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's one of the main things that has changed, because I know we didn't have to worry about trying to look out for people pulling up in white vans. Y'all remember that a few years
Right.
ago? Like my
Yeah.
kids were traumatized when we moved to Greensboro, because it was all them
Mhm.
people getting kidnapped and stuff in the white van. So every time we saw a white
Yep.
van, it was like, "Oh Lord, Mama, there's a white van." I said, "No, y'all just make sure y'all see the white vans when we're somewhere. I don't care, because I'm kind of like a gangster for the Lord." But I'm not gonna let anything happen. I'm aware of my surroundings in that aspect where I see something weird. I ain't gonna let it go down. I'm not gonna go down without a fight anyway. Everybody gonna know what's going on around me because I'm gonna be loud. So I
Right.
mean, and we lived in a time where it was snitches. So now snitches get stitches, but back then everybody's gonna tell
Yep.
on you if they saw you doing something you weren't supposed to. All right, Melissa, I'm sorry I jumped in there. Go ahead.
Yep.
No, no problem. Yeah, I'm similar, same generation. Basically being raised by everybody in the neighborhood. Everyone in my neighborhood was my mom, my aunt, and my grandma. So
Oh
it
wow.
was no such thing as "you not my mama," because they would get on me, and I would get that whooping. I can't. I think I've gotten so many but whoopings back then I can't even name. But if you didn't change your clothes, your church clothes, if you didn't change your school clothes, if you didn't clean up, if you talked back or rolled your eyes or rolled your neck, I mean, everything was a whooping. And going back to what Brooke was saying about how we can't raise our kids the same way, I found myself doing that a little bit once with Elizabeth because in my generation, if you received a new toy, then you were supposed to keep it. You were supposed to keep it nice. And if
Mhm.
you ended up breaking it, it's like, yeah, that's your behind. So I had a moment like that with Liz a while back because I had brought her some Barbies and she decided to experiment, tear them apart, you know, cut their hair off. And I said, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna whoop you because that's how I was raised. You don't tear up nothing that your parents buy.
Mhm.
And so Lawrence was like, no, we can't be like that. Again, they're a different generation. You know, we have to talk to them and we have to let them know, hey, you know, it's okay. Yeah, this is yours. Versus, you know, our mom be like, oh no, I'm not gonna buy you nothing else ever again. So yeah, it's raising kids these days are so different. And I have to remember, okay, I can't be like my mama. I have to, you know, find different ways, find better solutions versus saying I'm gonna get a belt, I'm gonna get a switch.
Right. Right.
There's a
You know.
fine line. There's a
Yeah.
fine line. There's a fine line because we still have to teach them how to respect what they have, and we
Right.
still have to
Yeah.
teach them to, although we're doing it different, there's still respect. Period. So I agree. Me and my husband kind of go back and forth with this, but there we have to still instill in them the same things that was instilled in us because we made it, right? So we have to be able to instill some of the same methods that we have. We just have to do it differently.
Right.
Okay, well, with that being said, what types of methods do you use for discipline with your children versus, what we dealt with for discipline, when we were growing up? Because I know mine was, yeah, spanking. Spanking was
Mhm.
like primary thing because that's all that they knew back then.
Right.
I'm gonna beat you. You gonna do this, blah blah blah. But I have noticed that with the children that we have, and mine are a lot older than y'all's kids, but I'm like, that spanking thing, when your kids get to the
Don't
place
work.
where they be like, it don't hurt. Like, what's
Right.
the spanking for? And
Work.
then the spankings don't, they don't change nothing. Or
No.
oh my gosh, the dramatics before a spanking. The doing
Mhm.
the dances, turning cartwheels, trying to see if you can keep
I
sliding
was
up under
good
the
at
bed. I don't have time for that. That's too much acrobatics. Too much. I'm not physically fit like that to be trying to keep climbing under beds, grabbing people's legs, and no. So they had to go out the window. So what types of methods of discipline do you all use?
Well, I think each child is different.
that.
So for Jordan, I've rarely had to discipline him. Um, for him, just talking to him and maybe taking something from him, like he's the kind of kid, if you take his phone or you say, well, you're not going this place or you can't have that. So with him, his discipline more so comes from just taking things away from him. I don't even really recall maybe spanking him that much as a child. Maybe when he was around like 3, when he went through the tantrum stage. But for the most part, he has been like really good. But Tyra, whoo, man, listen, Tyra, mm,
Stop talking about my
oh
baby.
Lord. I want to return her back to sender sometimes. Like Tyra be taking me through stuff. And Tyra gets spankings all the time, but it's like she gets a licking and keep on ticking. Like she'll just shake that thing off. I be like, what is wrong with her? Like, Tony, get her. Like she just, I don't know. She's very defiant, and
Yeah.
so I have to really stay on her. She's a different child. She's a
And then
different,
you're different too. You're
huh?
older. So then you're different too. You're older.
Right.
Yeah,
Life
yeah,
has changed you in some form or another. Me and my husband
yeah,
started together too because Harper and Caden two different people. But
yeah.
Harper is 5 now, and Caden is coming into himself, and I don't know. If Kaden was the first one, I don't know if there would be a second one. I mean, I was younger then. But I think we popped Harper once, but with Harper, if we send her to timeout, her entire life is over. Like over, and we have to. It's so I don't know if Caden is going to be that person. Caden might be my Tyra. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be that. He's not that. He's just into stuff. He likes to throw things, and um,
Hmm.
he likes to look at you, but right before he does it, because he knows he's not supposed to do it. Like he looks and then he smiles,
He's
and then he
testing you.
yes.
That's
So
that boy versus girl thing too. I'm
yeah,
sorry. There's a different
yeah,
dynamic.
yeah,
It is.
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. We're still figuring it out. Because now with Harper, we send her to timeout, but we also have to take things away too. So we still kind of
Yeah.
figuring things out. Caden don't really get to understand the timeout thing. He lucky because we just turned one, but I don't I feel like a popping is just a little tap. Not too bad, just a little tap.
Oh.
If Tremaine does the thing, he gets it just shakes the soul up. It shakes the soul up. The soul is shaking for a little bit. He can't get right afterwards. So I think that may be Tremaine may have to be the voice of reason for that one. He looks at me and like I said, he'll look at what he's not supposed to do,
Hmm.
wait for eye contact, and then he smiles and does what he knows he's not supposed to do. So and he's one. So I don't I'm Tremaine may have to be the disciplinary for that one.
Oh my goodness. Melissa,
Yeah.
don't be talking bad about my girls. Come on,
I
what do you
am.
do?
I surely am. But Elizabeth is my angel. Like Elizabeth never wants to disappoint. If she feels like she's done something wrong, she'll cry. And we'll say, Liz, it's okay. And she's like, I'm being good. I said, yes, you're being good. She never wants to disappoint. Olivia, we have to strike the fear of God in. And she is always pushing buttons. She, I have popped that girl so many times. I think now she's getting it because she tried to test me this morning, case in point. And it was time to go. I was taking them to school. And Olivia's walking around the house, just walking. We're already outside. And I'm like, okay, Olivia, come on, let's go. And she's still walking around like she's not coming. So I marched towards her and she's like, no, no. And she thought I was gonna whoop her. I was gonna spank her. And I was like, no, just come on. So I'm like, okay, good. I finally got the fear of God in her because when she sees me like rushing towards her, she's like, okay, no, I do not want you to pop me.
Let me tell you, I just thought about something. I just got so tickled. Have y'all seen the Jacksons in American Dream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
So y'all
favorite.
know when Joe would be getting ready to go get one of them, how all of them get all dramatic in the corner, or they be trying to console them afterwards. Have you found your kids doing that to each other?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! The first time I saw that, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me?" But my kids, one time they would stick together like glue and then try to throw one under the bus. My oldest ones, they all got together. They would sneak and get into something while we were gone, and they would always blame Jasmine. The youngest one would always get it.
Oh.
And we didn't look. We kind of knew that she was innocent, like she was saying she was, but she would always take one for the team. So we say, "Who been in that stuff? Who been in that stuff?" Jermaine be like, I don't know. It wasn't me. Jariana, was it you? She was like, it wasn't me. Joya, was it you? They would go, they would go down the line and they said, it must have been Jasmine. They were like, wasn't it you, Jasmine? Jasmine, wasn't you? She was like, I didn't do it. Okay, it was me. And
Oh.
then and then we be like, wrong. Oh, y'all about to get this. So why y'all gonna sit there and throw that baby under the bus? But I thought that was
Oh.
hilarious. I was like, y'all all together, all for one till it's time to come down to the end. That was hilarious to me. So I was looking, and I always look on Facebook, and I'm surprised I didn't even do a post. I wasn't even thinking this year. I usually do a post for Mother's Day, put my mother-in-law, my mom up there, talk about, oh, happy Mother's Day, my mom, my mother-in-law, you done so much, I love you. Mwah, mwah. So I didn't even do that this year. But I did like Sunday night, Monday, go back through and was looking, and I was like, oh, it's been some awesome tributes and everything. But um I was on YouTube and a girl that I subscribed to by the name of Jazz Anye was on there. and she put up a post. Usually, she's like a business guru. So, she's usually coaching everybody on how to get the bag and all that stuff. So, she actually did a post and it was entitled "We Need to Talk." So, in the preface, she was just saying that yes, it was Mother's Day and everything, and Mother's Day is usually a good relationship with her mother. I think I got. Do I have to click for that? Okay, so she was saying that Mother's Day was a trigger for her, and though everybody was always putting their pictures up and everything, she would completely stay off of social media because it was something that she just couldn't relate to, and it was overwhelming to her. And she even bought out the mother for the sermon. She said that mental and how she has raised herself pretty much. Not having a relationship with her mother caused her to be a hustler, caused her to have a complete different mindset of what a mother and daughter relationship is. And it kind of hurt me to my core because I'm like, we don't have that hard of a job where we can't be there for our children. um I know we might not have all the answers, we might not get it right all the time, we might not be the only voice that they listen to, but we strive to try to do that. What are your ideas like when you hear about people not having, good relationships with their mothers, or, there's been a disconnect there where they pretty much don't want to have anything to do with their mother, knowing that that is a very vital relationship to have. I don't care who jumps in on this. And by the way, the girl is like, she's 25 now. So now that really hurt me. This girl got money galore. She's doing stuff, making moves on her own, but you could kind of hear she's hurt and that she wants to have that relationship, but she's just not able to. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm a fan of therapy.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
important when you have broken relationships and relationships of that stature, of family relationships, siblings, your parents. I think it's important that if you can't move past it, if it's something that's hurting you so badly that you seek help, get family counseling, even if the relationship isn't restored, so that you aren't broken, help you, heal from it.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate,
I
but it
agree.
happens.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
I agree with you too, Brooke. I think therapy is so important, but I do want to say that I know a lot of relationships that are like that.
Mhm.
So I try not to be judgmental when it comes to that situation because you don't know what type of relationship they had, where it would cause them to feel a certain type of way. Um, I can say personally, I had that type of relationship with my dad. Now,
Mhm.
my parents were married and they got divorced when I was probably about 3 years old. And so from the age of three to I think when I was about 14, that
Mhm.
was the last, I didn't see him again until I was 14. And so he had got, remarried and all of this other stuff, lived a complete, life. He just went on. So it was like once my parents got divorced, it was like he divorced me as well. So there was a lot of resentment built up for
Mhm.
years that he left. And so crazy thing is I remember when my mom was sick with cancer, and out of the blue, he called out of just nowhere. And he said that he had been going through the school system and everything, trying to reach me or whatever. And I was shocked because I hadn't heard from this man in like years. And so I told him, my mom was in the hospital. She had cancer. I said, but, she's going to be okay and blah, blah, blah. So he was living, I think, in Delaware or either Maryland at the time. He drove down the next day. But when he drove down, my mom had passed away. And so once he got there, he stayed for the funeral and everything, but it was just like all that resentment kind of came back because I was actually physically seeing him. So it was like resentment, it was anger, like where were you, and blah blah blah. And we grew up single family, we was poor. Mom, I saw my mom struggle, and you go on and live your life. And so it took me many years to get to a place where I was able to forgive him. And it was only through counseling that I was able to forgive him, because um what I guess what I didn't understand when I was younger, but I understood when I got older was, my dad, he had a drug habit. And so anytime you have any type of addiction, um nothing comes before that. No family, no children, nothing.
Right.
Your addiction is your first love. And so I had to understand that he was in bondage. So how can someone that's in bondage be there for you?
Mhm.
And so when I started to look at it differently, I was able to forgive him. And so that's why I say you can't, for me, I never judge anyone's situation, but I definitely, agree with therapy. And whatever it is, you have to forgive your parents. You have to forgive people in general because, our parents are not perfect. We don't choose our parents. They make mistakes just like we must make mistakes. So you have to be in a place where you can forgive them no matter what they did. God still wants us to forgive. And so I'm 100% with therapy as well.
Absolutely. Melissa.
Yes, I am in total agreement with therapy, and also, depending on the relationship dynamic, I can't speak for her, but I can say for me personally, me and my mom, we were not always close. We had our ups and downs, and for me, I was grateful for my village. Like I was more in tune and close to my grandmother. She was more like someone I could have that motherly figure in, and my aunts. So my mom was still there. So I think a test for me was when my mom, she was in a near fatal accident. She almost lost her life in 2010. And I was grown and I was on my own by then. And I was like, well, I don't have to, deal with it per se. I didn't have to, really be around her. But my aunt, who's always been like a mother to me, she said, Melissa, you only get one mother. No matter what happened in the past, you should be there for her because
Right.
she's your mother. And that's what has helped me over the years as far as, getting married and having my daughters, that I want them, to have that relationship with their me mom. And, I did when the accident happened, she was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. I dropped everything. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what happened in the past didn't even matter. And, I was there sun up, sun down, because I wanted her to live. I'm like, this is my mother. So I do agree with Ebony, you have to forgive. And, depending on what happened, if it wasn't something that was something that was really, really, really bad, I say that, anything can be mended, any relationship can be mended. It just
Mhm.
takes time. It's a process.
Right. And I also think that with relationships being mended, and of course, like I said, I don't know her backstory. She said she didn't want to go too deep into it because it would be putting her business in the street as well as her mother's. But um I'm just saying, sometimes if we're the oldest child or if we're the only child, we're their first child and they're kind of trying to figure out what motherhood is all about. They never been a mother
Mhm.
before. And,
Right.
I can attest to that. I had never been a mother before I had my first child. And I don't recall really like reaching out and trying to get help as to what am I supposed to do now? What am I supposed to do now? And I think that's because my mom was strategic um, in how she raised me, because when I was growing up, she actually had a daycare, so I knew how to get along with kids and everything. But when I was getting older, she somehow was providing daycare services for the Department of Social Services. So when people would go on their different appointments or whatever, they would drop their kids off. So um, I was helping her out, with the younger kids. So I kind of knew what to do. I learned how to change diapers and do all that because I helped raise one of my nephews. So, taking care of them, doing all that. And then there was another time in my life where she had a daycare again. So it's kind of like I was there doing hands on stuff. So I would kind of be prepared in the future if I ever had to do these things. But I wasn't trying to have no kids, but I got kids. So by the time I had my own, I wasn't a stranger. I wasn't new to this. I was true to this. So I kind of already knew what to do, but I just kind of empathize with anybody who doesn't really have a relationship. Not saying that everything starts off beautiful and that you're just close and tight, because like I said, there's a dynamic and there's a time where mama has to be mama. Mama can't be your friend. Mama has to let you know, I'm laying down the law. This is what you have to do. I'm trying to set you up, so that you will be a productive citizen and that you'll have good sense when you go out here in this world. But I just empathize because it just hurts me. Like I said, I think that's one of the relationships that I think should really really be fostered. And um not having your mom is one thing, but when you're able to have, like you were saying, a village, when you're able to have a village, when you're able to have that auntie, that older cousin, even a big sister or somebody, that's able to step into that role and kind of guide you and kind of help you out with stuff, it helps so much. Even godparents, and I think that's why it's so important when people choose godparents for their children, that they take that into consideration. Is this somebody who will have the right kind of influence over my child that I need them to have? Is this somebody that I trust with my child's life? Is this somebody who has the same kind of morals and values that I have? So if I'm away, I know they're not going to play like I don't play. I think all of that stuff comes into, play when you're trying to pick out godparents and stuff. But just having those types of people in your life, and like you say, when people who have mothers who have passed away and they're just left to fend for themselves, I just be like, oh Lord, I'll just, but like I say, every time is not gonna be like somebody else's. Everybody's life is different, everybody's path is different, but I definitely have like a soft spot for that. It's just one more thing I just want to touch on so we can get up off of here, but I got to do this. The whole transition, or let me see, not transition, but how to balance being a mother and being a wife. Let me hear
Woo.
you. And I just kind of threw that in there like that. But yeah, the balance of being a mother and being a wife. What you got for me?
I'll sit out and I'll take notes on this one.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Let me know how. Let me know. I need all the tips. I need all the pointers.
What you got? What you got?
Whatever.
I was going to say that it took me some time to find the balance. I didn't understand it. It just took me some time. Um, for me, it's hard being, as a wife, you are a helpmate to your husband. So you're already helping him, making his load easier. Then you got your own load. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
as wives, we wear so many hats. We work, we got 9 to 5. Some of us got businesses on the side. We're mothers, we're cooking, we're cleaning. We're doing everything. We're doing extracurricular activities. We're taking kids here, we're taking kids there. It can be a lot. For me, I have learned to put things in priority. So for me, I know my priority is always, of course, my husband, work, kids, school. Those are things you kind of have to, work around. Those are things you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I work at home because I'm able to at least, in between, I can wash a load of clothes or get dinner started while I'm working and things like that. I'm able to take the kids to school and pick them up and stuff like that. So I love that flexibility from working from home. But it's very important to have some type of self care for yourself so you
Mm.
won't burn out. Because If you burn yourself out wearing all these hats, you will have nothing to give, not nothing to give yourself. So it's important to find some type of self-care. And self-care is not always going to get your hair done or going to get your nails done. Self-care looks like taking a nap. It looks like resting. Going in the car by yourself, listening to music, going to get a massage, going out with your girlfriends or something like that. For me, it's even just going to have lunch by myself because
Mhm.
sometimes you just want to be by yourself,
You want
so you have to find some type of time for yourself so you don't burn out because you're going to do this all over again the next day. I'm usually the last one to go to sleep at night. So when everybody's asleep, I'm able to just like you know, I can
Mm-hmm.
watch a little TV, I can, play games on my phone, whatever, read, anything. What I'm in peace, but you have to find the time. You do. You just don't want to burn out. I was at a place before years ago where I used to burn out so much because the load was so heavy. And I was like, I can't do this. I have to find some time. And sometimes even just shutting down stuff, saying no. I can't do this, not today. And you still have to make time for your husband. So, you will find that time. You'll find that balance, even if it's, you know, setting a designated day or a designated time. Well, one thing that Tony and I like to do, we like to watch TV shows together. So we have certain shows that we watch. That's our quality time. Or we'll go out to dinner or something. That's our quality time. But in even on the weekends, I do something with the children. Make sure they're satisfied. So, but then you still gotta have time for yourself. So you just have to divide the time that you have and designate it and just make it work.
It sounds like a lot of intentional planning.
Mm-hmm.
It works though. It
Yeah,
works.
no. Mhm.
It works.
It
So,
works.
as you can see, if you are looking at the comments, Jermaine had gave me and the kids had gave me a
Uh-oh.
spa package, and I haven't used it yet. Um,
How long
it's just
have you
because I
had
be
it
doing
then?
life, I'm just saying. One day I'm gonna learn what self care is before it's too late. I don't know. I need somebody to give me a book and tell me what self care is. Thank you, Ebony, for giving me a definition of what self care was because I thought it was something else. I don't know, but like for real, Melissa and Brooke, y'all ain't gonna say nothing about balance,
I'm
no.
seriously am just now starting to learn because I feel like I have to keep going. Like if anybody that knows me knows that I can't sit down. If I'm sitting down, I'm doing something. So um, I don't know how to give myself time. Tremaine is always like, go do something, go get your nails done, go get your hair done, go do this, go do that, go go go. And I'm like, well, if I do that, then who's going to do this? So I'm just now getting to the point to where I get it. I get it. If I don't take care of myself, I can't be the person Tremaine and I used to date, or the person that, I can't be fully who I am because I have nothing. Literally, at the end of the day, I have nothing. I have nothing for
Yeah.
you. I have nothing for me. My head is going to hit this pillow and I'm going to sleep. So I have to, like Ebony said, put aside some time and intentionally plan to have date nights with Harper, um, like those individual time with Caden, individual time with Tremaine, and then some time away for myself, which has
Mhm.
not existed in the past. But I think I'm doing a little better now.
Gotcha. Melissa, you
Mhm.
just really not gonna say nothing.
Brooke, you don't take rides in the car by yourself just to clear
I
your
see.
mind, your head?
But because it's always something to do. So it's like, oh, okay, well, if I take this ride, then who's gonna wash the dishes? Somebody has to wash the dishes. It's always my brain always like something has. Harper has to go to bed. I gotta make sure this happens. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. My brain, my one of my friends called me Martha. She's like, stop being Martha. I need you to go sit down somewhere and be Mary, okay?
Yeah.
my, but my brain is always on like I have to do. But I'm slowing down a little bit. I think God has actually put his foot on me and I'm slowing down a little bit. So but and sometimes what I am learning in this season of my life, trying to do in you in the season, but you can't hear, or may have been trying to do some seasons back, but you ain't heard them. So he's like, all right, we got to slow you down. So I see
Right.
it now, and I'm grateful for the season that I'm in. Didn't understand it initially, but I'm grateful for the season that I'm in. And it all had to do with me slowing down and enjoying where I am, smelling the roses, taking some time out to be able to say, "Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. Give me another hug." Being able to do that, to appreciate the moment that I'm in so that I can grow and where God is trying to take me.
That's awesome. Melissa, you're not gonna say nothing. You're not
This is still learning because the
yeah.
same the whole self care thing. I think my breaks I usually get in between carpool, just being able to listen to my music. But I feel like it's really not enough because by
Yeah.
the end of the evening, when it's time to go to bed, it's like I'm revved up to try to do something for me, but I'm ready to go to bed. So I think I'm still in that period of the analogy I'm always given. If you're on a plane and the gas mask drop, the oxygen mask drop, who are you going to give the oxygen mask to first? And yeah, I would probably say it would be my kids. So yeah, still just trying to um, learn how to prioritize and how to keep things together. Just wanting to keep everything together. It's a lot.
Using
Mhm.
that same analogy, Melissa, if you don't give yourself the oxygen, you can pass out before you give it to your kids.
Right. Yep.
Right.
I was just about to say that Jermaine and I were having a talk with one of our kids today, and we were saying the exact same analogy. He was like, "Look, if you're on this plane and they tell you, look, you take that mask, you secure it on yourself first, and then you help out whoever else. Because if you're not here to help them, you know,
That's right.
if you're gone, who's gonna help them? I mean, they're panicking. But
Mhm.
this is something that I'm still trying to learn how to do as far as this self care thing. But let me tell you about the balance. Now, my situation, I'm dealing with balancing being a wife, a mother, but not only a wife of a musician, a wife of a pastor as well, a wife of a businessman who is in demand, who helps so many people. Okay. So, um, just having the balance of that in itself, it's not easy. It's not easy. But what I have learned over the years is you can't let it just like overwhelm you. If you let it just overwhelm you, you're just gonna just do a whole lot of unnecessary stressing, and for what? Like I say, you're gonna cause undue stress to yourself. What I found that actually helps is when you know that it's something coming up that your kids have to do or that your husband has to do, and you know you're gonna have to go and be supportive in both areas, the best thing to do is just like what like Ebony was saying, kind of have to like prioritize what's coming up first. How much time is going to be needed here, how much time is going to be needed there, and just you just have to plan for it. Just plan for it. It has to be
Yeah.
premeditated. It has to be one of those things. Well, this has to be done. I can't stress over it because my kids are going to have to get to this program. They're going to have to do this. So I might as well enjoy this. But after this, I know that my husband's going to have to do this. So I'm going to have to go there. So look, if it has to be a thing where you might not be enjoying the kids program or whatever, and you might be sitting over there with your one earbud in your ear, with listening to your little music, trying to get yourself together, thinking about your next step, then that's cool. But it's all about prioritizing what has to be done and not letting it overwhelm you. And like I say, it's not easy. It's something that has had to come with time. It's not anything that you could just be like one day, like, you know what? balance. Boom. Today's gonna be balance. Not. it's something. It's something that I think you need to have a conversation with your spouse about. Like, hey, this is kind of hard for me. Like, I'm
Yes.
not sure about how to balance this or that. And sometimes they can come up with some great suggestions as well as how you can work together. Because if you don't
Mhm.
express, that you're feeling overwhelmed. If you don't express that this is what's going on, I'm about to be burnt out, or I'm about to slap you for no reason, and I don't know why, baby. I love you. If you don't express this to them, they don't know. Like, they're not mind readers. As much as we would love to be able to read each other's minds, we can't. So you have to let them know that part. And Jermaine had, I had talked to him before. We talked to each other when stuff like that goes down. And he was just like, babe, well, why don't you do this? Well, why don't you do this? And I'm like, you know what? And then you can see they could come in and actually help you with the kids, help you get the kids somewhere else. Or even if you got a good friend, a close buddy, if you don't have to be at that program, let the auntie friend take them. The auntie friend go over there and sit for an hour while you get your mind together and stuff. But I think what's most important is that we as wives and mothers, we always have somebody that we can just call or text
Mhm.
when we're feeling overwhelmed. Of course, we go to the rock, but we need to have somebody else that we could go to as well. And somebody where all your business ain't gonna be in the street. Somebody that really has your back. Somebody that's really praying for you. And with the three of you ladies, I think y'all are some good stock. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that is a good friend of yours that you trust or whatever, I think that they got some really good friends, and I know that y'all go to bat for some people, and you will pray for people, and you will have their back. So
Mhm.
you need to have those same good quality people being able to do that in your lives as well. Boy, that was a whole lot to say. That just came right on out. So So y'all, I think if anybody doesn't have anything else, anybody have any little nuggets they want to share with a fellow mother or a wife out there, any little piece of advice you want to give them before we sign off, any encouragement?
Who baby? Melissa, what's your babies?
Melissa
So those are not
again.
my babies.
You, you said what, Melissa?
I mean, everybody
Who
was
was
asking me
that?
if those were my babies in the background,
Oh.
and I was like, no.
That's just Caden.
That's you, bro.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I think it's good to have people. I'm from Texas, and my family, all of them are in Texas. But I've been here since 2000. So I've been here for 22 years. I did not plan on staying in North Carolina, but that's just the way the that's just the way the dice roll. And after I got married, I realized, oh Lord, I'm really down here by myself. Like, not really including my family's husband. When you grow up, my husband's family, excuse me, when you grow up, you think about your life being a part of your children's life. So the support system that I would have had, which was the only support system that was in my brain, was my family. Them not being attached to me like really broke me. But learning, hey, there are other people you can lean on. Of course, you have your husband's family, which is a given, but you have other people that you can lean on. I always feel like, well, people have other things that they can do. It's okay. I know. I'll just take them with me and take 85 kids to the dollar store to get a gift card. Like, opposed to just calling somebody and asking them, "Hey, can you stop by for a second?" But having people, I'm now in a season where I'm like, "Oh, okay, let me just go ahead and call. Let me call. Let me ask this. Let me ask that. Let me ask them this." And seeing that I have people that I've always had, but just leaning on people more, like having Talora said, the auntie friend to sit and just come over on Sunday. I was super tired and I kept falling asleep. Thank God I had a friend here because I have a 1 year old and a 5 year old. So it's good to just be able to have people in your corner, family, friends that'll be able to allow you to have those mommy moments where you can get away from time to time.
Absolutely. Melissa?
I would say to have a good girlfriends network. I am grateful for the group of ladies that God placed in my life before I even became a mom. Um, I have the friends that they were already married when I was newly married, and they instilled some things in me to say, hey, when I was saying, oh, this is overwhelming, even when the girls came, they were like, oh, been there, done that. Got a postcard, got a T-shirt, and so it's good to be in those circles where you're not alone, even though sometimes you might feel alone before you vent. So I agree with you, Lori, about having that support system and being able to, hey, it's ladies' night, go out and hang with the girls. And even when the pandemic happened, have the virtual check-ins. It's been really vital for me.
Awesome. All right, Minister, Pastor, Prophetess Ebony.
I cannot.
Go on, break
I
down some
cannot.
wisdom.
I agree with both of y'all ladies. Definitely having a village is important. Having that girlfriend circle that you can talk to and relate to with other mothers. And then just having confidence in who you are as a mother. We don't always get it right. We make mistakes. Motherhood doesn't come with a handbook or anything. We winging it.
Right.
And so you kind of, you learn as you go. And so just being confident that God has given you strength, to keep doing what you're doing as a mother. I mean, I wouldn't trade being a mother for nothing. I absolutely love being a mother. So, if God put me in a place to be in a role to be a mother, so He's going to continue to renew my strength to do what I have to do as a mother every day.
Absolutely. And it's awesome that you said that analogy about him renewing your strength and God allowing you to be a mother. It is definitely something that I think that God chooses us for, when he chooses
Mhm.
us and gives us that confidence, that's saying, hey, yeah, I trust you with this gift. I trust you to raise them and do them just like I trusted Mary with Jesus. I trust you to
Yeah.
raise your children and to bring them up. And I just think that's an awesome responsibility in itself. But again, it's a learning process. It's something that's ever changing, even from our kids being small. Even just a couple years is a huge difference. I
Mhm.
mean, you can see that they change so much, and then the times change. What they're exposed to changes. It's a lot of stuff that we have to contend with that causes us to have to adapt. To what motherhood is, and even with marriage, y'all. 22 years this year in August, being married, being together. 27
Yes.
years, y'all. Let me tell you something.
That's awesome.
If you think that women don't change, if you think your being a wife and your being a mother won't change, let me tell you something. You better get prepared. Because
Mhm.
there are going to be changes and dynamics that shift throughout this whole thing. But I
Yes, ma'am.
do want to thank you all again for everything that you said tonight, your input, your wisdom. You really dropped some nuggets tonight. And I just think it's good to have some good girlfriend time and some good girlfriend chat, and just to let people hear, from a woman's perspective, what motherhood looks like, in our eyes, what parenting looks like, what being a wife looks like. Because people sometimes looking from the outside in, they be like, oh, it ain't that hard to be a mother. Oh, girl, please, like, if he was my husband and I only had two kids, well, I already know, I could do this. It ain't nothing. Then boom, I could go to Vegas every weekend. I still be with my girls, and I could no, no, no. It's got to be
Mhm.
some changes and some things. To settle
That's
down, you got to
right.
prioritize and get in order.
Mhm.
Um, but I do want to encourage any young women out there. You may not have children yet, and you want to have children. You may not be married yet, and you want to be married. Um, these are some things that we said tonight. We're just pointing out, just a little bit of the stuff that goes on. But like, definitely, if that's something that you're seeking, I just want to encourage you. Hey, seek God first. Put
Exactly.
God first and include him in all your decisions. Let him direct you, let him guide you. And then just embrace the whole thing about being a woman, first of all, and then being able to love yourself so that you can be loved as well, and that you could be a wife and a mother. But definitely, like I said, there's no manual for it. Is something that we're still learning. It's something that's ever changing. It's a challenge. It's not all beautiful, but it
Mm,
is worth it in the end. So I want to
yeah.
thank everybody who came on tonight and shared in the conversation with us. Thank you so much. Again, if you were here and you can hear my voice, make sure you share this. You can go back and watch a replay. We also have a YouTube page, Kingdom Conversations. I think there is a link somewhere on here where you can go watch it there as well. But definitely make sure you share, tell somebody. If you go out to YouTube, make sure you subscribe to that page. And just make sure you keep us in prayer. I would encourage every woman to find you a village of good friends, good girlfriends, somebody that you can talk with, pray with, lean on, that you can trust. And then just make sure that whatever you're doing, you got a plan, you got a goal, and then know that you're not alone and there's nothing that you're going through that nobody else hasn't been through before. So, with that being said, I encourage you to be the best woman you can be. I thank y'all so much for joining us on the Ladies Night Takeover for Kingdom Conversations. This was my one and done. I think I'm retiring. Um, It's like, boom, we did it. I thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you so much, Ebony. Thank you so much, Melissa, for making this a wonderful and fun time tonight. You guys, you rock.
Thank you for
Yay.
having us.
Thank y'all
Good.
so much for tuning in and joining us today. All right, now.